new tester fish is doing and if he's living. Alright, what's up guys? I'm back here with another YouTube video about some cichlids and fish tanks. So today's topic is going to be how to set up a new fish tank. There's 5 key points you really have to keep in mind when setting up a new fish tank. Point number 1 being you have to plan a budget. So this is my fish tank right here, and the budget I planned was for around like 100 to 150 to get it set up fully and get it running. So that includes the tank, the filtration, the substrate, which was free, and as well as all the other miscellaneous small things you're going to need, like, you know, a scrubber, and you're probably want an aeration stone or aeration. So that's step number 1. And what I have in my tank personally is just... Okay, well, that's step number 1. We'll come back to it. Step number 2 is you want to make sure that you have the right size tank and filtration for what you're trying to do. I knew that I wanted to get 5 to 7 beautiful African cichlids that could live in here and thrive and be fine. And so that came with the planning side. As you can see, we have 5 African cichlids, and then we have like a random fish that helps start my tank, and I never got rid of him because he doesn't bother them. Tank size is 40 breeder, and the filtration I use for this fish tank is the hang on the back filter. And I also have a large aeration pump, which will just give extra oxygen to the fish. The hang on the back filter I think was like 30 bucks, so that's in my budget. I had 100 and some left. The tank itself was $40. It was on sale at Petco, like $1 per gallon, which is a super great deal. The substrate, I went outside to my river. I live super close to the river, and I took a bucket and I carried it all the way back to my house and boiled it, because that way it gets rid of all the bad bacteria and nasty things that could be in there. And then I set that in there, and then I bought some flower pots. So the flower pots I think were like $8 to $10, and then I broke them up and put them in here. And as you can see, got a few flower pots scattered throughout. Ooh, the catfish is trying to come out. Right. So step number 3 is a very important step, substrate. You want to make sure you're getting the right kind of substrate for what you're trying to do. Is this tank like going to be a planted tank? Are you going to have like a bunch of plants in it? Then you're going to have to buy, you know, like you're going to want to get dirt. You want to get like fertilizer for it. You want to have like a thin top layer so then it doesn't all float up. Is it going to be a bare bottom tank where you have like large monster fish in there? You're going to have like catfish and all sorts of things. You really want to make sure that you're choosing the right type of gravel because it can affect your fish pretty heavily. Step number 4 is choose the fish you want to get. That's pretty important. And so when you're really starting a tank, you want to make sure that you buy, it sounds terrible, like cheap, like test fish. You just want to make sure that your water quality is fine and that everything is going to go smoothly for your tank. So what I always do is I always buy like a few tetra or maybe like a hardy cichlid. I actually started this tank with a Jack Dempsey in it and a firemouth. The firemouth is still in there. He doesn't bother them though, like I already said. You definitely want to make sure that you're just keeping an eye on how that new tester fish is doing and if he's living. So if he's living good, after about 2 weeks of you see he's thriving, he's doing well, then you can start buying your really nice fish that you're desiring, that you want to get, and that's when the fun part comes. So that's after about a month of really seeing how's this tank going, how's it doing, all of that. So something I didn't talk about is filling up the fish tank. Filling up a fish tank is pretty important because you just want to make sure that you fill it up, stays full, it doesn't leak. And before you get fish or do anything, you want to first add substrate that you want. You want to put the filtration in, get it running, whether that be a sump, power head, hang on the back filter, you name it, under gravel filter, it doesn't matter. Get that running and get your heater on there, and then let it sit for about 1, 2, 3 weeks, depending if you're scared, and then that's when you buy your tester fish. So getting back to those fish you want, the fish I wanted, as you can see, are the African cichlids. They're all in there and doing great. I didn't account that for my budget just because you don't really want to worry about that. The most expensive thing that like gives you the least beauty out of your fish tank is going to be the actual tank and filtration and gravel. Gravel can give you some beauty though, so you know, the last step, what's pretty important, is where you're going to buy these fish. I actually have a pretty interesting point here. So as you'll see, this yellow African cichlid, it's called a venustus. 2 months before I bought my Restratus, the really large one in the back with the kind of greenish face. The venustus is 2 months probably older than him, right? But the difference between these two fishes is about an inch or two. And while it doesn't seem like much, but it's a lot because they end up about the same size when they're fully grown. And they're both males because I've checked and I can see that the venustus is just less dominant one, but even so, I got the venustus at Petco and I got the Restratus at a local fish store that I really trust. Keep that in mind, like the Restratus costs a little bit more more, and it was from that local fish store, but it's also grown healthier, has better coloration, and is just an overall more attractive, more fun looking fish than the Venusis, who's just kind of like bland. So that's something really important to keep in mind, is you want to make sure you're buying your fish from like a trusting location. I would tell you to never buy fish that you want to have and keep and watch grow from Petco or PetSmart or any of those larger like places. The worst is Walmart. Don't ever buy fish from Walmart. That's basically it. So after you get your fish tank running and you go through the cycle and it gets all of the good bacteria growing in it, then you can start adding your fish. Let's go over a recap of all of this, right? The steps that you need to take to getting your fish tank up and running. 1, plan that budget. Buy your tank, your filtration, your substrate, all of that. Make sure you're staying under budget, because it's pretty important for me. I'm a college kid. So 2, make sure your tank is running good, you have the filtration going, and then you add the water, and then you let it cycle through the nitrogen cycle, which is very important. I'll make a video about the nitrogen cycle later. It deserves its own page. It's so important. 3rd, make sure that the substrate's looking good. It's not going to affect your fish bad. The substrate helps shape the tank, in my opinion. The 4th thing you want to recap is you stay on target. Make sure you're getting the fish you want. Like, there's a lot of attractive fish out there, but they don't belong in the same tank. Like, there's killifish, which are beautiful, like small tetra-like fish, and then there's like cichlids that get like massive, and they don't mix well. They're both beautiful, but you can't have them in one tank. So that's why you really have to plan that out well. And lastly is make sure that you're buying those fish at a great place. But that's all for now. I can kind of give you what I did when I bought this fish tank and give you like prices and everything. So like I said before, I bought it at Petco it was on sale. It was $40 for a 40-gallon fish tank, which is a great deal in my opinion. This was $15, which is my little magnetic scrub brush. The hang on the back filter was $30, I think, $35. So that puts me, up to $90? Oh, right. The potted plants were $10, so it puts me at $100. So right around where I want to spend. And then the fish, you're going to get expensive fish if you want to have a great fish tank. That's going to go up and down depending on what type of fish you want and all of that. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all for now. I'll catch y'all later. Just remember, like and subscribe. These guys, they really enjoy watching y'all watch the videos, and I really appreciate all the views I've gotten recently. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Like and subscribe.